Hello everyone, welcome back to our discussion of the modeling viewing pipeline. We have already looked at viewing transformations. Today we continue our discussion with what we call as projection normalization. So this will take us from the VCS via the CCS up to the NDCS so that we are in a stage where we are able to hand over things to the rasterizers. And we will also learn how we do these things in a device independent manner. So remember, at the end of the previous lecture, we were in the VCS. Okay? And at that time, the I was the origin of the VCS coordinate system, and we had set up the U, V, and N axes for the VCS. The n-axis pointed, the positive n-axis pointed in a direction that was opposite to the lookat vectors, and we had specified the near and the far clipping plane by giving distances along the n-axis. To be more specific, along the negative n-axis. Okay. So let the near plane be at 0, 0 minus capital N, and let the far plane be at 0, 0 minus capital F. And we are going to assume planes are perpendicular to the n-axis. The n-axis does not have to hit the near plane at the center if you consider the extents of the near plane, but it has to be perpendicular to the near plane. Okay, so that is the constraint that we are going to abide by. And that sets up our viewing frustum. Okay, so we have the view frustum set up, and we are only going to consider the portion of the world that lies inside the view frustum for rendering. At this point, it is also worthwhile to mention that you may consider the near plane is the plane on which your image is going to be formed. Okay, so the final size of your image is governed by the extents of the near plane. So what are we going to do? We are going to move through a sequence of steps via which we will try to regularize the shape of the view frustum. So this is in contrast to what we have been doing so far. So far we have been applying our transformations only to the objects, right? So we applied our modeling transformations to the objects, we got them to WCS. Then we applied our viewing transformation to the objects, we got them to VCS. Even now we will apply our transformations to the objects, but we will construct these transformations by looking at their effect on the view frustum. And the reason that we want to do that is because we want to take the general view frustum that we have in VCS to a canonical or standardized view frustum in NDCS. So the view frustum in NDCS is going to be a cube. So we are going to go through a sequence of transformations that will transform our view frustum to a cube. And please bear with me as I go through this sequence of transformations. It might seem a little bit confusing in the beginning as to what we are doing and why we are doing this particular sequence, but you will see that at the end of the process, when we compose all the transformations that we have got and we reach the CCS, we will get a cube, and that cube will be further normalized when we get to the NDCS. Okay. Okay, so here goes. So this is our first step from the VCS to the CCS. Okay. So in the VCS, when we have the frustum, that frustum has the near plane and the far plane that is perpendicular to the n-axis. Okay. But the n-axis need not hit the near and the far plane at their centers. Okay. So we are, so this is the line, so the thin arrow here is the line joining the center of the near plane and the far plane, whereas the bold blue axis is the direction of the negative n-axis. So the first operation that we want to do to our frustum is that we want to transform the frustum in a manner such that the n-axis passes through the center of the near plane and the far plane. So what kind of transformation will this be? So let us think about it. This transformation cannot be a translation, because the translation, you have to apply the same transformation to all the points of the frustum, remember. So if I consider that the transformation will be a translation and it has to be this shift between the points on the near plane, then it will not work for points on the far plane. Similarly, if I consider a translation with the shift on the far plane, it will not work for points on the near plane. So it cannot be a translation. It cannot be a rotation, because that will change the angle that the n-axis makes with the near and the far plane, and we do not want that. It cannot be a scaling, because that will not cause this shift either. So the only transformation really left to us from our bag of transformations that we can apply here is potentially a shear. We can perform a shear in one coordinate such that the shift is proportional to the other coordinate. Okay, so here you can see that you can perform a shear along the v-axis. Yes, and the shear can be proportional to the n coordinate. So it will be less here and it will be more here. The shear has to happen both in the Vn plane and in the Un plane. So I am only drawing like the V and the N axis here because it is easy to draw it in 2D. I will later show you the same transformations in 3D, sketched out in 3D as well. But for now in the discussion, let us keep the diagrams 2D. So the U axis is actually an axis here. Okay. So we can consider that the, if I draw it, the shear has to happen both in the Vn plane and the Un plane. Okay. So this shear matrix will have a non-zero term here and will have a non-zero term there. Right. And what is it supposed to do? It is supposed to take the center of the near plane. So these coordinates are for this point, right? So it is supposed to take that point to the point where the n-axis intersects the near plane. Okay. So if it is going to do this kind of a transformation, then we can construct the shear transformation by inspection. Okay. And what do I mean by inspection? Well, the shear is supposed to take these coordinates to those coordinates. So what are going to be these parameters of the shear transformation? That is what I mean. So let us have a look at what is the matrix going to be. The matrix, if you compute it, is going to have these parameters. Okay. And how did we get this? Well, we had two unknowns here, right? And you can set up two equations. The two equations are going to look like this, right? 1 and 2. And that lets you figure out the two shear parameters. If you apply this shear to your starting view frustum, you will get a view frustum that is now symmetrically aligned about the n-axis. Okay. So the n-axis intersects the near plane and the far plane at right angles, right? So this angle is still 90 degrees. and it now passes through the center of the near plane and the far plane. Remember that the same transformation that you are applying to the view frustum is also being applied to the objects of your world that lie inside the view frustum. Just remember this fact. This fact will become useful when we complete this sequence of transformations that are being applied to regularize your frustum. Okay? So this was the first step. Then what do we want to do? Now, the next regularization step that we want to do is that we want to take the side planes of the view frustum and we want to convert them to planes such that they go to the plane v equal to plus minus n and u equal to plus minus n. Okay, so only the v planes are visible on this diagram, but in general you want to transform the side planes to those particular planes. Again, how will you find that transformation? If you consider your starting view frustum, so let us call this frustum 1, and by applying a shear we took it to frustum 2. So in frustum 1, the left bottom corner, right? So a point here will have the coordinates LB minus N. So this is a coordinate in frustum 1. This is a coordinate in frustum 1. After applying the shear transformation, so you apply the shear transformation, in frustum 2, the same point becomes this, right? So LB minus N becomes minus R minus L by 2, minus T minus B by 2, and minus N. I want you to verify this fact by taking this point, multiplying it with this matrix, right? So multiply it with the shear matrix and verify that you get the corresponding transformed point. Please do it for both these points. Okay. Now what do we want to do in the second step? We want to transform this second view frustum to a third view frustum, which is even more regularized, where the side planes have gone to u plus minus n, and therefore these points in 2 should now map to these points in 3. So these points are plus minus n, minus n, right? So the u and the v coordinates just become plus minus n. And if you think about it, then again you can sort of figure out that a translation will not do this, a rotation will not do this, a shear will not do this. So you are really left with just a scaling. And again, by inspection, you can form this scaling transformation and see that the scaling parameters in u and v are going to be 2n by r minus l and 2n by t minus b. Okay. So after applying this scaling transform, you have a further regularized view frustum. This is the second step. The third step, we are going to take our view frustum with its side planes at uv equal to plus minus n and convert it to a cube. Obviously, none of translation, rotation, shear or scaling will do this for you. Because what am I asking it to do? I am asking it to sort of stretch out this side, the near plane side, and I am asking it to squish that side. Okay, I can think of only one transformation that makes things closer to the eye appear bigger and things further away from the eye appear smaller. And the moment I say this, it should be clear to you that this is going to be a perspective transform. Okay, now that is about all that you can infer by just inspecting this problem, right? The form of this perspective transform, you are going to have to take my word for it, and you will verify that the perspective transform that I show you will do what I say it is going to do. Okay, so when you start this process in this frustum number 3, the near plane is at -n, the far plane is at -f, n is equal to -f, and the side planes are ±n. After you have applied the perspective transform, the near plane will go to n equal to -1, the far plane will go to n equal to +1. So not only has the far plane been squished, it has moved to the other side of the origin. And u and v planes, the side planes which were at ±n, will now go to ±1. Our transformation, it is going to shift the origin to the middle of the frustum. And we know of only one transformation that can shift the origin, and that is a translation, right? So it will have some translation component, and it will also have a scaling component that we will see. But finally, a point uv minus n, this is a point on the near plane, in the view frustum number 3 should go to a point u by n, v by n minus 1 in view frustum 4. And a point uv minus f on the far plane of frustum 3 should go to u by f, v by f minus 1 on frustum 4. Okay, and this frustum is the CCS frustum, and this frustum is a cube. This transformation has the form given here. It has a translation component, it has a scaling component, and it has a perspective component. This transformation is called projection normalization. We are normalizing the view frustum so that it becomes a cube, right? So we went through this sequence of transformations. We started with a generic view frustum in VCS. We applied a shear so that it becomes symmetrically aligned about the n-axis. Then we applied a scaling so that the side planes go to plus minus n. And finally, we have applied a projection normalization so that it becomes a cube. Why did we do all this? And the reason is this. When we have a view frustum that is formed with a perspective camera, right? That means that the projectors are going to converge to the camera centers, right? So this is our view frustum. So let us say that the view frustum had a near plane and it had a far plane, and this is the image that would have been formed right? This is the image that would have been formed under this perspective camera if you had applied it directly to the object. So this is your object in the world. Yes. So I could have taken the perspective camera or the perspective projection. I could have directly applied it to the object in VCS. I could have just taken the perspective projection matrix, multiplied it with every point of the object, and I would have got this image, right? But I did not do that. I did this sequence of transformations, right, to standardize my frustum and convert it to a cube. Now, when your frustum becomes a cube, your projection is no longer perspective because the projectors are now parallel to each other. What you get is a orthographic projection. Okay. So this is the transform that I applied to the view frustum. I changed it from a perspective view frustum to an orthographic parallel projection view frustum. Now, here is the magic that happens. If I apply the same transformation to the object contained inside the view frustum, and I form its image under this new parallel projection, right? So let me call this image 1 and let me call this image 2. Then image 1 is going to be the same as image 2. An orthographic projection of a distorted object can be the same as a perspective projection of the undistorted object. And what is this distortion that we are talking about? It is a sequence of transformations that we applied to change the view frustum from a perspective view frustum to a parallel view frustum. If you want to sort of think about it in a very simple manner, you can think that this was your view frustum and this was the object inside it, and after your sequence of transformations, your view frustum becomes that and your object becomes this, if you apply the same transform to both. So the image that you form with the perspective view frustum is the same as the image that you form with the parallel view frustum after you have applied the projection normalization transforms to the objects contained in the view frustum. So after you are here in this stage, in the CCS, your image formation process has become very easy because you just have to do an orthographic projection. And as an additional benefit, you have landed in this nice canonical view frustum, which is a cube, and that gives us multiple advantages. So what is the complete transformation? It is the shear and the scale and the projection normalization.